Chapter 6. We were born to create. The world is changed by your example, not your opinion. That's Paulo Coelho. We were born to create, not just biologically, though yes, we procreate, but spiritually, mentally, artistically as well. We are, at our core, builders, dreamers, designers, makers. Our default setting is not consumption, it's creation. You don't have to call yourself an artist to be one. You don't need a degree in film, architecture, or design to be a creator. If you've ever solved a problem, launched an idea, written a post, taught a concept, or brought something from thought to reality, congratulations, you're a creator. And yet, in a world full of endless media, convenience, entertainment, we're living through a quiet reversal. Many people spend more time consuming than creating, more time scrolling than contributing, more time absorbing the work of others than developing their own. That's not because they're lazy, it's because they're stuck in a loop and they don't realize it's killing their momentum. And just a sidebar here for those listening to the audio content, this is an engineered phenomenon where the social engineers at the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the TikToks and the Snapchats, they literally are programming these tools to keep you in this loop, to keep you engaged, to keep you scrolling, to keep you consuming. I've actually heard it said that the man who invented the continuous scroll feature years ago, one of his greatest regrets in life was ever producing that as part of his work because it's trapped so many of us in this endless scrolling cycle, this loop that it's so hard to break out of. It sucks the dopamine out of our brain. It can be draining. So I know I'm guilty of it just as much as anybody. So, anyways, back to the text. We're all creative, just not always creating. It's easy to believe creativity is a personality trait, something reserved for musicians or designers, photographers or writers. But creativity isn't about style, it's about intention. A real estate agent who crafts a smart listing strategy is a creator. A mom who organizes a week's worth of family meals is a creator. A mechanic who modifies an engine to solve a problem, he's a creator. And a manager who builds a team culture that others thrive in is a creator. Creativity is turning what is into what could be. It's the art of taking knowledge, tools, or raw materials and producing something valuable. So if that's true, why do so many of us fall into the role of the consumer? Because consumption is safe, it's easy, it's immediate. Creation, on the other hand, requires risk, vulnerability, focus, exposure. That's why it's hard to hit publish, why it's intimidating to share your process, why it feels safer to study content strategy for weeks than to post something today. And yet the only way to grow is to create anyway. The consumption trap. Let me be clear, consumption isn't bad, it's actually necessary. Every good creator is also a good consumer, but there's a difference between intentional consumption and passive absorption. Intentional consumption has a purpose. It sharpens your mind, inspires your work, feeds your development. Passive consumption, on the other hand, numbs your creativity. It trains your brain to avoid risk and reward novelty instead of mastery. One of the most common traps I see aspiring creators fall into is what I call the learning loop. It looks like you want to start something, a brand, a channel, a business. So you do some research, and that research leads to more research. Soon, you're on your 6th podcast, your 10th tutorial, your 3rd online course. You've consumed a mountain of content and created nothing. You've learned too much, and as a result, never actually began. What started as preparation quietly became procrastination. There's a quote I'll come back to often. At some point, you must stop preparing to live and start living. So too with creation. At some point, you must stop consuming and begin contributing. Creation requires courage. Let's not pretend otherwise. Creating is scary. To write something and put your name on it. To share your work with people who might not like it. To put your ideas into a world where they can be judged. That's real vulnerability. But here's what's more dangerous than being judged, being invisible. The world doesn't change by those who stay silent. It's changed by those who speak, who build, who risk. And guess what? The more you create, the more confident you become. The clearer on what you believe, you get better at your craft. You start to build trust with your audience. You get feedback, iterate, and prove. Every post, product, conversation, or piece of content is another brick in the foundation of your influence. The 6-to-1 rule. If you're not sure how to shift from consumption to creation, here's a simple rule I teach. For every 1 hour you spend consuming content, spend 6 creating it. That may sound aggressive, but it's where momentum lives. Think of it like this: create, 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 consume, then repeat the cycle. Use the consumption to fuel your creation. I think God had it right when he spent the first 6 days creating, and then the seventh day, he used it to rest, to refuel. So if the creator of the universe used the formula to create the world we live in, this formula, I think that it can work for you and I too. So and use your consumption to fuel your creativity. Read the article and summarize the insight into your own words. Listen to the podcast and share your biggest takeaway on social. Watch the video, then apply the principles and show your results. The goal isn't just to copy, it's to absorb, synthesize, and create your own version of value. Creation is contribution. One of the biggest mindset shifts you can make is you're not just posting a line, you're contributing to the conversation. You're building the table you wish existed. You're inviting others to think, grow, or act. You're offering your voice, your experience, and your perspective in a world that desperately needs more depth and originality. Even if you're not sure who's listening, even if your audience is small, even if no one's clapping yet, keep going, because what you're building isn't measured by metrics, it's measured by alignment. And when you get alignment, when you're creating what you know matters, you start to attract people who need it most. Final thought. You were made to create, not just to consume what others have built, but to bring something of your own value into the world. Whether it's words, ideas, systems, communities, strategies, stories, or services, you have something worth contributing. So don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait till the plan is perfect. The only way to learn how to create is to start creating. Start messy, start small, start anyway, because in a world where everyone is watching, those who make something are the ones who move everything.